Hey y'all, my name is Jasmine Jones. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and you are now tuned in to Black Girl, a therapist in the wild. And today we are going to be talking about the 4 subtypes of borderline personality disorder. So stay tuned. So today we're talking about the 4 types of borderline personality disorder that was discovered by Theodore Millon. And they are not in the DSM, but they have been theorized and they match a lot of different people with borderline personality disorder. I'm going to say BPD because that's a long sentence of a description. So BPD, we get what it is now. So the 4 types start with discouraged borderline. So let's talk about that next. So people exhibiting discouraged borderline, discouraged. I think I'm saying it wrong, but I'm going to put a thing that gives a little description too. So that's why there's this space here. So discouraged, there you go. I was saying discouraged. Okay, discouraged borderline folks tend to be very needy and clingy on the outside, but on the inside, they are very hurt and they get very disillusioned easily. They have these feelings that people hate them, nobody likes them, no matter what they do. And they're more likely out of the 4 to self-harm. And if it's untreated, they can become suicidal. So very clingy, needy, will always be there doing things for people, but still will feel like nobody likes them. No matter if somebody is showing them on a consistent basis that they do like them and they do enjoy them, that it's hard for them to get past those negative thoughts and negative beliefs in their mind. So that is discouraged borderline. Next, we're going to talk about the impulsive borderline. So the impulsive borderline can be very charismatic and enjoy doing risky things and risky behaviors. They enjoy the attention of other people, but they can also cause a lot of conflicts if things don't go their way and can be very antisocial in behavior, causing fights and issues if they're not getting the attention that they need from other people based off of their behaviors and their charismatic ways and their risky, things that they do. This is reminiscent of the borderline that a lot of people hear about and are afraid of, that is said to not have any, empathy for others because they're so self-focused on themselves and can cause harm to themselves or others if they feel that they are not being paid attention to or loved or cared for and things like that. But notice that this is just a type of borderline, whereas the discouraged borderline will feel bad about themselves but be very needy and clingy on the outside, needing their partner, needing their friends, needing to always be around people that they just cling to people, not necessarily charismatic, not necessarily hurting other people. They turn their hurt inward and will become self-harming and they hurt themselves. The impulsive borderline will instead turn their self-hatred outward and hurt others that they believe don't care about them or don't love them. So they often will be seen doing risky behaviors, drug use and violent behaviors and things like that. Mainly for the attention of others, the love of others, and the care of others, because it is hard for them to feel that way about themselves. And when it's taken away, or if they're not getting the attention that they feel they need, they can become violent and they can cause harm or cause conflict to other people. Next, we will talk about the petulant borderline. So the petulant borderline will show moody behavior. We call this labile mood, where the mood can go up and down and up and down. They often appear to be angry at the drop of a hat. The relationships can be loving, but they are also complex because a lot of times people don't know what makes them angry. They just turn angry. It's that foundational borderline, people will abandon me, negative self-talk, so I'm going to start arguments randomly for no reason. They can often be stubborn, unwilling to listen, unwilling to admit when they're wrong, and they can be very passive aggressive, you know. So it doesn't have to be a type of borderline where, you know, we are taking huge risks or we're self-harming, like the first three borderlines, the first two borderlines that we talked about. It could just be very passive aggressive, very moody. And the foundation of it all is that it is a pervasive issue that happens throughout their life. Very moody in relationships, anger, angry outbursts, passive aggressive behaviors and things like that. So that is the petulant borderline. Lastly is the self-destructive borderline. These are the self-sabotaging borderlines that when they start to make an advance in life and their things are getting better, they will self-sabotage. So self-sabotage basically means that you set yourself up for failure. You know, you have a job interview tomorrow and you wake up late for it. And it's almost purposely not on purpose. Sometimes it's subconscious, sometimes it's conscious, but there's a pattern of these self-sabotaging behaviors. They can cause harm to themselves, you know, harm to people around them, but it's mainly about their thoughts and feelings of abandonment being so out of control that they can't see a good path for themselves in life. So when it comes to them, they don't necessarily compare to the more risk-taking behavior of the impulsive borderline, but they can be a danger to self and others because they can purposely self-sabotage their own life, whereas the impulsive borderline takes risky behaviors for attention, and if they are not getting the attention that they want, then that's when the destructive behavior happens. So with the self-destructive borderline, something to look out for is a pattern of self-sabotaging behaviors. That is the hallmark of that type of borderline. So in Millon's theoretical outline, there is no hard line that says this person is going to be this way. You could have a mixture of various subtypes of borderline BPD, basically. You can have a mixture of the petulant with the impulsive, a mixture of the discouraged with the self-destructive. You know, it's a spectrum, just like everything else is a spectrum, basically. So when you see these behaviors in yourself or in others, when they lead to self-harm, when they lead to harming other people, when they lead to self-sabotaging your life, and it's a pattern that's followed you through a long period of your life, then that's when you have to stop and say, you know what? I might need to go see a therapist. I might need to go talk to somebody. I might need to see somebody that specializes in trauma therapy and DBT and EMDR and psychoanalysis and talk about my past. I might need to see a doctor to, you know, check my brain, check my genetics and things like that. It just kind of depends on what's going on. But the first step is admitting, like, hey, these ups and downs in my mood, these negative feelings that I'm having, these self-harming behaviors that I'm having, these beliefs that I'm having don't match with everyone else's. You know, everyone else seems to be okay. You know, the people that I have around me anyways, they seem to be able to handle conflicts a little bit better than I do. So maybe I need to reach out and ask for help. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong at all with reaching out and asking for help. So I hope this video was informative in learning about the 4 different subtypes of BPD. And there are other subtypes as well that have been theorized by different psychologists and therapists and doctors and things like that. These are mainly just the majority of symptoms and behaviors that have been seen over the years in clients that have been diagnosed with BPD. So I hope you all enjoyed, and later days.